previous video. Down on the moors. And here she is. Not very high.
But it was a hell of a storm. You've got to appreciate that. That was a hell of a storm. Like nothing, that tent, I can't believe the tent stayed up.
Sorry guys, there's no fisher. This is a walking video. And over the next 2 days, I'm going to be walking over that ridgeline, heading my way back into Lancaster. I'm currently walking the Trough of Bowland. I'm on an old Roman road, and I'm still walking away from my destination. I'm going up and staying, I think it's called Wolf Trick Point. I'll put the name here. Gonna go stay there for tonight, and then the next night I'm gonna move on to a viewpoint where I can see the entire Lancashire nearly, and then Tuesday afternoon after work my wife is gonna come get me. That's the plan for the next 2 days. As you can tell, I'm walking uphill, steady away. If you want to know why I've decided to choose this route as opposed to anywhere else, it really is all about the fact that I'm on my own. If I was to go to the Lake District today, Sunday, at the beginning of the school holidays, it's probably going to be mobbed. So I decided to choose somewhere which isn't mobbed. I decided to choose somewhere where I'm pretty much likely to be on my own. Now I do know this. The terrain that I'm going over can be quite difficult. So the overall distance of this walk is 22 kilometers. So it's going to slow me right down. But I don't mind. This initial setup along this road is quite good. It's getting me into it, getting off the cobwebs again. Yeah, so I don't mind it's going to be tough up there. I've got all the water I need with me for 2 days. And as you can imagine, that's quite a lot of water, so this is a heavy pack. Now I do have my water filtration system with me. I have the MSR Mini Works, which is a really good filter. It doesn't do bacteria, no, it doesn't do viruses is what it doesn't do, but it is a good filter. So if I do run dry, I can find pretty much any muddy puddle and I'm sorted with that filter. And if I use it, I'll show it you later. But I have shown it in previous videos before. Right, let's keep going. Just reminds me of Dartmoor a bit. Very much like Dartmoor. Oh, and I must shout out my new pack. I have an Osprey Xeon 88. I've only done about a K, but I do find it rather comfortable. It is a bucket, you can throw quite a lot in it and lots of pockets. Hood's a bit weird, but yeah, I'm liking it so far, I must admit. Like I said, it's only the first couple of K, or first K, but yeah, it does fit comfortable. I'm just adjusting as I go into the walk because it's quite a heavy pack. I'm just adjusting my straps as I go, finding out where it's bouncing, where it's banging, just pulling the belt a bit tighter, that sort of thing. So yeah, it's a learn as we go. But I had confidence in this pack. I always wanted a pack which was up to it. Yeah, there we go. Here's a much better view. There's Penigent, Engelborough, and in the distance, just picking up the sun there as you go inside. And because of my decision making, I've got this place to myself. on a school holiday. Awesome. Well, I've got it to myself right now, but wherever I look, I still can't see anybody else walking. Whew. Right. Decision time. I'm at a place where now I need to either go down the track this way and lose the height or ridgeline it. Now I'm going to have a really good look at the map now, because this isn't a decision you take lightly. I know what I want to do for the benefit and for the safety and for the making sure I don't balls up. I could just simply follow this hard standing track and I'll be able to get to my destination pretty much guaranteed. If I go that way, continue along this Roman road and then veer off onto the footpath that is clearly marked on the map. Is it still there? What do I lose if I go that way and can't find it? Well, it's about 1 kilometre. So I could walk a further 2 kilometres in the I could walk 1 kilometre in the wrong direction. I'm not saying the path isn't there, I'm just saying I don't know whether it is or not. You know, the beauty of going that way is that tomorrow I don't have to backtrack. If I go this way, I have to go where the road is and then get over to my destination. And then tomorrow I walk back over the same path a little bit. I don't really like doing that. If I go that way, I don't have to drop down, I don't have to climb back up again. I can contour and do a nice gradient walk up to the summit. And I'm not retracing any steps the following day. So those are my two decisions I have to make, and I don't know which one I'm going to make. I'll have a drink, an energy bar, and see how we go. I threw that one in at the last minute, an extra 500 millilitres of water. It was in the car, Karen dropped me off, and I just threw it in at the last minute. I thought, what the hell, carry as much as I can, and I'm so glad I did. That Bergen weighs an absolute ton. It's full of water and it's full of, not food really, but it's full of everything else I need. And it weighs a bloody ton. But it carries really, really well. You know, that's the first time it's been on my back, and I am really impressed with how comfortable that is. It's a really comfortable Bergen. And I don't know how much is in there, but it's a lot. It's a lot. It's not your 9 kilos anyhow. Not even close, double it. I do like my comforts. Right, anyhow, I'm gonna have something to eat, and when I've made my decision, I'll get back to you. So, after careful consideration, my decision is I'm not gonna go with the road. I don't like losing the height. I'm gonna follow and ridgeline and follow the footpath up. It's about 1.5 K actually that way, it's more than 1 K. But I'm not going to do that. I don't like going over my steps again the next day, so I am definitely going to follow this Roman road for another 1.5 K, traverse right, and then go up onto my summit, and that's where I'm going to stay for the evening. That's my plan. So all probably about 5 to 6 K to go, and then I'm done. So let's get the kit back on. Let's get going. That's my decision. It's done. I've broke track now. Now I'm on the moors. There's these grouse shooting butts that lead me to the, well, pretty much the summit. Just follow these all the way, really. If you want to know why that Roman road is still in such good nick, money, shooting. Shooting butts. All for the good old grouse, eh? Poor Mr. Grouse. Gets a hiding every year. But there you are. I can't believe how many seagulls there is. I'll show you. Bloody everywhere. I better get a move on. I know the weather's going to change. I don't want to get caught in the rain, not if I can help it. As you can tell, as I rightly thought really, the footpath is very non-existent. The only real giveaway is it follows this fence line. You can see there is a footpath, but it's very, very not trodden well, should we say. Well, if you ever wanted to know where the seagulls go in summer, it's bloody Trough of Bowland. Jesus, I've never seen so many. You don't need to call this Wolf Crag, you need to call it Seagull Crag. Very complicated little design. 3 paths meet here by the look of it, but my destination is 500 meters away and my walking today is done, depending on what I find when I get up there. If I find that it's like this full of seagulls, I'm going to keep walking, but the view from where I'm stood right now, I can see bloody Lancashire in its entirety. It's amazing, amazing view. When I get to the summit I'll show you, but it's absolutely fantastic. I wouldn't want to come here in the winter, I'll tell you that. It's hard going now. Decent rainfall and this place is going to turn into a quagmire. But yeah, I'm really pleased. I am tired though. This pack is heavy, but the beauty is I'm looking around me now and this is where I'm staying tonight, and there are plenty of places to stay, and I'm really pleased about that. I'll get back to you when I get to the trig point, which is just here. And here she is. Not very high, but that's not the point, is it? And of course, I don't know a man who doesn't touch trig points. If you're not a trig point toucher, you're a weirdo. You have to touch trig points. Don't pull. Right. A little bit of a command decision now. I'm going to put my tent on the other side of the wall over there. Use the wall as a bit of protection. We've got 20-mile-an-hour winds and rain booked in for this evening. Don't want to be part of that really as much as possible. So get myself over the other side of the wall, give myself as much protection as possible, and get comfortable for the night. And that, the 3 peaks, will be my view for breakfast and the setting sun this evening. So let's just backtrack 50 meters, get the other side, and make base for the night. Where are you off? Eh? Where are you going? Nearly stood on you. You get off the path. Daft thing. Well, I've got my, I think trail mix everybody calls it, don't they? Basically it's berries, dried berries and peanuts. So I'm having them. The weather forecast for tonight is 20-mile-an-hour winds and rain. 73% chance, so that's probably more likely to happen than not.
The only thing that is not concerning me, I'm just going to keep my eye out for, is the midges. With the wind being what it is, the midges won't come out, but in the shelter they can come up off the grass. So I don't know if there's any midges here. I don't know the situation, but I've got my bug spray should I need it. And that's why I brought my bug net as well. Not knowing the ground 100%, not knowing what to expect when I get up here. I was quite surprised to find this flat ground, I'm going to be honest. It's not very often you find flat ground on top of a hill which isn't either waterlogged or whatever, but no, this seems to be fine. I think if it was to really, really rain constantly for hours and hours and hours and all this is winter, you wouldn't be sleeping here. But I mean, I think for what we're expecting and what we're going to get, I think I'll be fine. I have seen one other person who went up and touched the trig point. See, I told you, got to touch the trig point. That person was a fell runner, and this fell runner, I'm pleased to say, had his little emergency kit with him. I could actually see through, I could see his little first aid kit and everything. And I said, nice to see you with an emergency kit. I said, clearly you know what you're doing. Brilliant. How awesome's that? You must have watched my other video, eh? What's the plan for the rest of the day? Tonight I'm having stir-fried chicken, noodles and firecracker sauce. Get all that all fried and stirred up together. I'll have some more of these for my pudding. That's about it. I might... Oh, sleeping system. I've got my 2.1 metre long Sea to Summit Comfort Deluxe. I did have a lightweight one. I was going to bring that, but I sacrificed the weight and brought my super duper comfy one. Again, I've got my ground dweller, so the cold is not going to be an issue. Probably be too hot again. And on this spongy ground, it will be really, should be a really nice night's sleep. What else is going on in there? Nothing. I got some spare clothes. Bergen. I'm really liking the Bergen. I really am. Or a rucksack. Zenith. Sorry. What did I say? The Xeon. It's the Zenith 88. I'm really impressed with it. There's a lot of weight in it. And when I took it off my shoulders and started carrying it by hand, I realised how much weight I was carrying. Yeah, this took everything in its stride, and I'm really, really impressed with it. So, yeah, very good. Oh, you know what? I have an hour to myself. So let's have a quick look at my route. First and foremost, my darling wife dropped me off at the 185 spot height. I then continued up this hill, gradual climb to the farm here, and then jumped onto the Roman road and continued following that Roman road all the way, and this is where I stopped just to have a quick look. See, I'll zoom in. Now, I stopped here, had a drink of water, chocolate bar, and this was the road that I could have taken to get to here. Or my alternative was to continue along this road up to this gate here, follow this fence line up to the summit where I currently am now here. Not an amazingly long walk, not amazingly difficult walk, but a nice walk, and I really enjoyed it, and I'm glad to be here. I think it's time for a coffee. A special coffee. I've earned it. While I'm making this brew, shall we talk trig points? Do you know what a trig point is? And do you know what they're for? Most people sort of know, but not everybody does. So if you're one of those people they go walking in the hills, and you come up to those trig points or those little concrete pillars, and you think that marks the top of the hill. Well, yeah, it does, but it also is an aid for map making. And trig point actually stands for trigonometry point, and every main or major hill within the UK is measured in height above sea level at, I think it's called Newley in Cornwall or Dorset, it's either one of those two, and I'm going to go for Cornwall. So sea level is measured from that one particular point in the UK. All heights and all spot heights around the UK now are in relation to that one particular place. Now, the reason that the trig points are there in the first place, and there was 6,400 or 6,500, somewhere around about there. That's how many there was originally. There is 1,000 of those missing. I think we're down to about 5,500 now that are still standing. The rest have either toppled over or been destroyed for whatever reason. But they were astronomical when it come to measuring, not only for map making, but the actual using trigonometry, the size of England as well. Using trigonometry mathematics, they worked out the volume that the UK was taking via these things as well. So they were multi-purpose, but without them they couldn't make maps accurately, and it was a hell of a, I can't remember how long it took to do them all, but they were still being used in the 60s, and I think 67 or maybe even later than that they stopped being used. But yeah, that's what they're for. They were for map making, they were for measuring the actual volume of the UK, and each height is relevant to sea level in a place in Cornwall. I think it's Newley in Cornwall, or is it Newley in Dorset? It's either one of them. So there you go. That's what trig points do. And yes, you're a tough guy if you can walk past a trig point without touching it. That's all I'm going to say. You're a tough guy, because I don't have that ability. I have to touch it, because to me, trig point is an achievement. It is the point where you are trying to get to, and you got to it by touching it. That's how I see it. It's a bit sad, isn't it? But yeah, that's how I see it. So if you ever wanted to know what trig points are for, there you go. That's all I know about them, I think. Oh, and I will say this, the little brass thing at the top, right? If you notice, there's a plug and there's a hole in the centre. There's usually 3 arms, and there's a plug in it, and that's where the theodolite was screwed into. So to do his measuring from one trig point to the other trig point to the other trig point, back bearings and degrees and whatever. So that's what they were for. So the actual screw thing on the top, the brass plate with 3 legs on it, it sat on that. All right, there you go. Something else you may not have known. Full of useless information, aren't I? Yeah, there we go. Ouch. Where's my gloves, silly Billy? Oh, just the fragrance of that is nice. Oh, that is terrific. Still only one person. Only one person I've seen. I wonder if I zoom in to Ingleton, I can see people on the top. Sure, if I go a times 60 zoom, let's see if we can do that. Keep my eye out. I keep thinking I see things from over on near other trig points, but No, just the one. I'll tell you what there is actually up here a plane crash from the Second World War. It was an observation plane. I can't remember the actual name. It was an area or Ariel, something like that. I'll put the name somewhere in here and the dates and what I know, but also I do know that they weren't killed, which is very rare. The plane froze up, iced up us on a training exercise from Cumbria somewhere, and it ploughed into this hillside. Whereabouts it ploughed into, we don't know, but everybody was, there were people who were injured, but they were okay. Everybody walked away, which is amazing. Depending on how I feel, or if the rain doesn't come in as predicted, I may go and have a quick look round for it. I don't know whereabouts it is. I mean, I could be looking for a bleeding needle in a haystack, to be fair. I mean, just because it's on top of this hill, it could be a K that way, it could be a K that way. I don't know. Well, let's see if I can... well, let's see. I'm not going to promise I'm going to go look for it, but I may have a mooch around later anyhow. Nutter alert. I think we'll have a quick walk over to the group of rocks over there, I think. Hello Pete, how you doing? Good to see you, Pete. I don't think that I've seen so much of the UK in one go. I could see the Welsh mountains, the Cumbrian mountains and the Pennines all at the same time. Ah, obviously I have to turn round. You don't see that very often, do you? Look who it is. You on a suicide mission? What are you doing up there? What are you doing up there? You abseiling? I'm not going to touch you. So dinner this evening will be stir-fried chicken with spicy firecracker sauce and some noodles, a couple of nest of noodles. That's it. That's what we're having. I don't know if you can see in shot or not, but notice my Ordnance Survey socks. It just means I don't get lost with these on. It smells very citrusy. I'm going to let that cook for a minute. I want to let it heat up. And I'm going to take it off the heat. I'm just going to put it to one side. And then I'm going to do my noodles. They're hot. Very, very tangy, very spicy hot. Fantastic. Jeepers. It is hot. Anyway, I better be quick, because it's normally about this time when I'm having my dinner when some nutter will come running up to me in a thong asking me if this is the way to Amarillo or something like that, won't it? So, but at least the one person we did see today was correctly dressed and had all the right gear with him. Good man. He looked mean as a wasp too. I wouldn't tell him any other way. Wow, they're hot. I managed to get through them, but I got a sneaky suspicion I'm going to get that burning sensation again. Oh wow, my mouth is on fire. I'm really suffering. Well, one thing I'm going to talk about right now is my polycotton sleeping bag liner. Although this isn't actually a sleeping bag, it is a top quilt, and if you watch my videos you will know that this is specifically designed for hammocking but can be used also on the ground, so it's called a ground dweller top quilt, and probably one of the best pieces of kit I've ever bought. It is and sadly unavailable anymore. I think UK hammocks had a lot of problems with being able to churn out their equipment in time, and it created quality issues for some, and there was lots and lots of complaints. So I think in fact I've been told recently that they actually do not do any quilts at all anymore, so it's basically hammocks. And I think they're more into their adventuring, you know, where you go away for a particular couple of weeks in Borneo or God knows whatever. I think they're more focused into that, which is whatever. But sadly that means there is a niche now, or a hole within the UK. Nobody in the UK, as far as I'm aware, will make you a underquilt or top quilt. So you have to go to the USA. I don't necessarily have a problem with that because they know a lot more about it. They do it a lot more often than we do, and they're well up to speed with it. So that isn't an issue. It's just the import tax gets you every time. This is high quality down. Now irreplaceable. I cannot replace it if everything ever goes wrong with it. So I've had to invest in a polycotton sleeping bag liner, and basically all I'm trying to do is stopping my dirty grimy oils from getting into the down on my top quilt. When I'm hammocking, that's a different story, but while I'm ground dwelling, I'm going to do whatever I can to avoid mucking it up. Now, as you can see, this has never actually been out of the bag, so I don't know anything about it. It literally is. It's like a big pillowcase. And there you are. Well, that's absolutely fine with me. If it protects my investment, then that's cool. It's 20 minutes late. They did say it was going to rain for 8 o'clock today. Oh well, very accurate weather forecast that, wasn't it? Which is good news, because that means tomorrow's going to be a beautiful day. I hope this doesn't turn into one almighty storm. I don't want another one. It's only raining a bit, but it is raining. Every time I try and cross my legs I cramp out. Ah, here comes the rain. What a great way to go to sleep. Yep. It's a bit of a storm now, isn't it? This has to be the worst storm this thing has been in. There's a lot of rain blowing in through those vents, so I'm going to have to do a modification for that. But yeah, it's really bad out there. It's really horrible. And yeah, this is definitely the worst this tent has ever produced. Thank goodness that wall is behind me, because if it wasn't, well, I don't know where this tent would be right now. Yeah, it's not good. The tent's standing up fine at the moment. It's just the rain blowing in the vents. It's really bloody annoying. This was not a good night. Rain came in because I've got the tent set up wrong. I realised what I did about halfway through, but it was too late. Also, the inner was touching the outer, condensation formed, and I just got showered all night with condensation. Yeah, it was an awful night, terrible. I'm just hoping the sun's going to come out and dry everything off, but yeah, not a very good night at all, unfortunately. This is my worst experience in this tent now, and that's due to me not setting it up right, and I'll show you what I did wrong later on when I'm setting it up again. Yeah, I have to be mindful of that on this type of ground. I think that's what makes this tent adaptable, but you've got to adapt, and I failed to, so it's my own fault, really, but I'll show you later. Despite the fact I got the rain in on me last night, and despite the fact that the condensation I got because of my own errors in setting this tent up, there is still one advantage of this type of tent, and that is I can pack everything away, leaving the outer fly up completely, and completely administrate myself in here before the fly comes down, and that can be as wet as it likes and go in a separate bag. The also one thing that you may not even think of, especially when you're wild camping, is at this moment in time it's quite bad out there, and if I was to wish to carry out the morning constitution, in other words, dig myself a hole, then I could do that in here as well. I don't have to go outside, and I can just cover the turf back over, drop the fly sheet, and I'm gone. So that's another advantage if the weather's really severe like it is right now. So there you go, some advantages and disadvantages. I am going to work on a modification for that water coming in. I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but I think I've sussed something out. I think I've sussed something what that tab's actually for, but I won't know really until I give it a go later on this afternoon. So hopefully the weather's going to calm down. It's a lovely sunny afternoon. I'm not holding my breath right now, but I'm going to still go for another night. I'm going to give it a go. I'm going to hopefully that the weather will calm down and I will get that better day out of it, but let's just wait and see. In the meantime, the pack up continues. I've not had breakfast yet. What I'm going to do, it is my intention, is to move further away off the pinnacle, off the top of the hill, down, gather some water, replenish all my water, and then maybe find a sheltered spot to cook some breakfast. I don't know, I could cook it in here, but I'm not really hungry right now, so I'm not going to do it. Not eat for the eating sake of it. And if I feel a bit tired later on, I can just use some energy bars or something. So that's my plan. That's what we're going to do. Yeah, really annoyed at that bloody rain last night, I must admit. Yeah, I'm never going to let that happen again, and it's my own fault for putting this tent up wrong. It's 10 o'clock and I should be seeing sunlight, and I'm not. This is what I'm seeing. Nothing. Still, leave no trace. No rubbish, no mess, no nothing. It's time to get some water. But it's very silty, it's very peaty because of the recent rain. So I'm just going to have to trust my filter's going to do its best. So I get my filter up and running now. This type of filter, if you have a Nalgene bottle this type, it will screw directly on the bottom of it. Here we go. As you know, water is one of the most important things, and to have that MSR filter fail on me like that, I am really not happy. I'm confident that this water's only just got peat in it. There's a very few livestock on here, but that's not the point. That equipment should not fail like that. It's in perfect working order. I maintain it scrupulously. I even sterilise the filter as per the instructions, so I do everything as it should be done, and that bloody filter's just failed, and it will not pump through that, and that's not good enough. It's not clogged, it's not
there's not enough sediments in there that quickly to clog it. And also it goes brown. You can see when the filter is clogged. It didn't even pump one cupful of water, so it's not the filter. Something else is going wrong, and I don't know what it is, but I'm really bloody annoyed. So I've got 1.5 of clean water, and now I've got a litre of muddy water, which is unsterile. So the only thing I can do with that is boil it and filter it through something, and then see how we go with that. But no, I am not a happy bunny right now. 90 quid I paid for that 2-3 years ago. They will certainly be hearing from me, because it should not let me down like that. That's not on. It's just a little windy, but I just want to show you my phone charger that I've set up. It should take about 5 minutes to charge it up, I think. Bleeding now. Managed to find some shelter. Just one big rock in the middle of nowhere. It's perfect just to have a respite out of the wind. On my last section, drop the height now down onto the Pike Clough, whatever it's called, where my final night's going to be. If this wind doesn't drop, because unless I can find some shelter down there, I won't be able to camp in this. It's just too much. Must be 40 mile an hour winds easy. Yeah, the cloud racing by is bad enough. I could have ridge lined it to here, but when I went and get the water earlier, I dropped down into a valley, so I've come round the back and back up again. So I did lose a bit of height this time, but this was more of a necessity than it is anything else. There is a puddle just over there, which is absolutely crystal clear water in, and it's obviously rainwater from last night. So I'm half tempted. I'm half tempted to take that. So I've just come off that point there. Come on, where are you? Yeah, I've just come off there. I walked along, come on, all the way, as far as you can see, along that ridge line and down into a valley. So, decent walk again. I've got, I don't know, 2k most to do now, absolute most, and that's it. I'm done for the day. I'll try and set up camp. If I can set up camp, brilliant. If not, and it's still too windy, there's no shelter, I may walk back down to a pickup point and give Karen a ring later tonight. I don't know yet. I'll have to wait and see. It's all about the shelter. If I can get somewhere to stay, I'll stay, because I want to stay. I don't want to go back. Right, so there we go. I'm at my final checkpoint for the day. I'm at the trig point on Trough of Pike, and if I lift the camera, you'll be able to know why I'm sat behind this rock. So there you go. You can't hear a word, can you, because of the wind. Right, the dilemma is there isn't very many places to pitch a tent up here, so I'm going to have to find somewhere else to go or sack it. I'm going to drop down on, I'm not going to go to the Jubilee Tower, I'm going to drop down on the shooter's track, and if I find somewhere there out of the wind I may
just stop there for the evening, or if I can't, I'm just going to keep going, and then I'll get Karen to come pick me up later on at the agreed point. So that's it. So I'll show you the trig point, and then we'll keep moving on to the final pickup point.
Power station in the distance, the estuary in the distance. Oh my goodness, it's bad, isn't it? I know you couldn't hear a word then, I'll just have to voice that over and point out one or two things on the camera, but yeah, it's very popular. I've seen more people here in the last 15 minutes than I have for the last 2 days. The only thing I can do is drop down. I'm not going to go to Jubilee Tower, I'm going to go down this way, out of the wind, hopefully. If I can find somewhere, I'll pitch a tent. If not, forget it, that's it, I'm sacking it. I'll get Karen to come pick me up. If I can't pitch anywhere, or it's not safe to pitch, or it's not practical, then there's no point. So it's a shame, really. I really, really want to stay, and if I can find somewhere, I bloody well will. So it's as simple as that. Oh, there you go. That's all very fine and dandy, isn't it? I quite like the bridge. Yeah, the terrain was all, for the last 2 to 3 kilometres, it's just been like that. And there's been nowhere to pitch. So I've had to come off and lower and lower and lower, and eventually I'm back on the range road. We call it range road, the shooting road. And I'm just going to make my down to those woods. If you can see in the distance there, those, well, middle distance, the woods there. If I make myself to there, Karen will come pick me up, because I can't camp down there, and because of the terrain, I can't camp up here as well. So it's a bit naff that. I'm a bit disappointed. I've got to cut it short, and I don't want to, because I know tomorrow it's going to be fantastic. And where I am now, I'm out of the wind. So if I could camp here, it would be great, but I can't. So I'm a bit gutted, to say the least. Anyway, there we are. I think I'll make a brew when I get down to where I'm waiting for Karen, because she's going to be a while before she comes to pick me up anyhow. So there you are. Oh well, next time you see me, I'll have the kettle on. There you go. Now then, I am a member of BASC myself, for shooting and conservation, right? But that sign is a piss take. No dogs allowed. Thank you for your cooperation. Enjoy your walk. Right, to protect wildlife, you shoot the fucking things. Protect wildlife, my ass. Protect your fucking shooting. That's all you're all about. Tell you, money. All I've seen along this walk has been shooting butts. Shooting butt after shooting butt after shooting butt, and when you see signs like that there, you know it's a piss take. It's huge money. The Trough of Bowland is nothing but a firing range. That's all it is. I'm telling you now, that sign is a piss take, and I'm a member of it. Not that type of member. I'm not in for it for that. I need the insurance, but that really annoys me, that. My walking is done. I have completed my walk today as opposed to finishing it tomorrow. But to be fair, my last leg of the walk was only ever a pickup anyhow. I'm a bit gutted that I couldn't stop at the top.
But there you go. That's all there is to it. I'm gonna have a quick check now just to see the overall distance I've covered today, just roughly, and then I'll confirm it later on. But it was a bloody good walk today, I know that. So I've got a brew on while I wait for the boss to come pick me up. And you know what, because I've finished my walks and not doing any driving, have a little bit of a nippy sweet in there as well, just to celebrate the fact that it's done. Like I say, a bit disappointed that I'm not going to make it through another night, but that's terrain. It's terrain, not me. Nothing I can do about it. I've got to come down here. And well, if I'm coming down here, I might as well go home, 4 mile away. So, no, a bit gutted. But there you are. That's all there is to it. Anyway, that's just starting to boil. Let me make a brew. I'll get the map out and have a look how far I've done today. But I think it's quite a good distance. Minimum 15k to start with, I would say. Well, that wasn't a bad guess at all. Just had a quick look, and it turned out, yeah, pretty much 15k that I've walked today, which I'm quite pleased with. I remember originally I was only meant to walk 8. That's all it was. So, no, 10. I've walked an extra 5k than I planned to, which is all right. I don't mind that. Like I said, I've done my coming home route as opposed to stopping. So all in all, last 24 hours. Oh, hang on. Well, yeah, so let's say over the last 2 days walking, I've covered about between 25 27k. Honestly, somewhere around about there, which isn't too bad. I'm quite pleased with that. It's not a bad little walk, is it? Gutted about my MSR filter. I wonder what's going on there. I've got a maintenance kit, and last time I used it, I did all the maintenance on it, re-greased everything up, but for some reason it wouldn't push through that filter. Like it was blocked, but the filter can't be blocked because it was completely cleaned and sterile. It didn't even get a cup of water out of it. So something's not right somewhere with that. I'll have to take that apart and have a good look at it. But the trouble is with that thing, it's a bloody good filter, but the only trouble is when you do use it, you can't just leave it. You can't just leave it in your pack and pick it up next time, because the filter will degrade inside and create its own bacteria. So you've got to sterilize it by boiling it for 5 minutes, and then you just let it dry on the side somewhere for a couple of days before you put it back in your kit. If you're constantly using it, that's a different story. But if you're not constantly using it, you can't just leave it. Now I've got to go and go through the sterilizing process of that. I'm really annoyed, because if that had been a life and death situation, I'd have been in a bit of spot above there. I mean, to be fair, that water was just peaty. You could have drunk it, but no. Swapping over that peat water with that puddle in the rock was much better. It was much safer, and I know that water was fresh from the night before, so that would have been just simply filtered and boiled, and you'd have been much better. But there you go. Yeah, that's the way it is, isn't it? Well, I don't know how long my darling wife's going to be. She won't be forever. She finishes work at 4:30. Takes her 40 minutes to get home. She says she's going to nip in and get changed before she does. Come pick me up. We're just a few miles away, so I would say another half an hour should see it. Oh, the mistake with my tent. I put the pole in the inner. I put the inner up first and then put the fly over the top. And what that did, it created a lot of sagginess in the. And I couldn't get it tight enough. Couldn't get it taut enough. So consequently, it was flapping around like a good one. And because it was flapping, it was the inner was touching the outer, and the condensation was coming. That was on the tent. I was getting as well. So every time it flapped, I was getting showered by my own condensation, and it wasn't a good night at all. Not at all. I will sleep very, very handsomely in my bed tonight. Yeah, so I was really, I caused a problem there by putting the inner in first. I should have just put the fly up and then attached the inner like I'd shown in my videos, but I didn't. And there was too much touching. As for those vents, I'm going to have to do something. I'm going to make a modification for those vents because there was a lot of water came in last night. But it was a hell of a storm. You've got to appreciate that. That was a hell of a storm. Like nothing, that tent, I can't believe the tent stayed up. I just basically curled up in a ball and went bollocks to it. If it goes, it goes. I cannot believe that tent stayed up, but not a single tent peg came out of the ground. It is like a limpet, that thing, when it doesn't come over. It won't fall over. It will not fall over. It's like a limpet. If you're still looking at getting one, despite the water coming in over the top, I still recommend it, okay? But what I will say is just hang on a little while, wait until I've done this modification, see what I've done, and then have a go at that yourself. That's what I recommend you do. Because there's nothing wrong with the tent itself, is awesome. It takes a lot of learning to get used to, but it is an awesome tent. And once I've made a modification to get rid of that water splashing in, basically I'm just going to try and create a flap that I velcro down. Because it's mesh, you can velcro through the mesh, so I'm going to create a sew-in flap that I can roll down and then velcro it off, so as that if it's stormy, whatever direction the storm is, I can just roll the one down with getting the water in, and then job done. That's my plan. Whether it works or not, I don't know. Anyway, as I said, thank you very much for joining me. I have thoroughly enjoyed it. I hope you have too. No bullshit, nothing, no hidden agendas, just me out walking and showing you what went on. Definitely got some fishing videos coming up soon. Until then, thank you very much. See you next time. Bye bye. That's it. My lift is here. Time to go home. See you later.